The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting, and he did provide those messages to police.
In a stunning courtroom twist that no one saw coming, Charlie Kirk's killer's own roommate has stepped forward. He didn't just speak, he handed over damning messages and revealed a truth about Robinson's mindset that could completely shatter the prosecution's case. The game has just changed. Let's dive into what was exposed. The killer's confession that shattered the case. The assassination of Charlie Kirk on September 10th, 2025, sent shockwaves across the nation, but the case was broken by something far more chilling than high-tech forensics. A series of intimate text messages. Tyler James Robinson, a 22-year-old from southern Utah, had just committed what prosecutors call ideological terrorism, but instead of fleeing, he confessed everything to his roommate and romantic partner, Lance Twiggs. This intimate and complex relationship is no mere footnote. It has become the key that unlocked the entire conspiracy and exposed the disturbing motivations behind one of the most shocking political assassinations in modern American history. To understand the full gravity of what transpired, we must go back to the day Kirk arrived at Utah Valley University for his final public appearance.
Charlie Kirk arrives for Turning Point USA's event, the American Comeback Tour. It's the first of a 15-stop tour of colleges, something Charlie Kirk has become famous for.
Kirk was at the university for his signature Prove Me Wrong campus tour, a series of events that had made him famous for his raw, unscripted debates with students. As he spoke to a crowd of 3,000, no one in the audience could have imagined that just 200 yards away, a sniper was preparing to change the course of American politics forever. Perched on a nearby rooftop, Tyler Robinson was in position, moments away from an act that would shatter a movement and ignite a national firestorm.
A single shot rings out. Charlie Kirk is hit in the neck. Chaos unfolds.
The single .30-06 round, fired from a Mauser Model 98 rifle, struck Kirk with devastating precision, killing him instantly. As a 33-hour manhunt began, Robinson made his fatal mistake. Instead of disappearing, he was driven by love and guilt to share his darkest secret with his romantic partner, Lance Twiggs. The text exchange began with Robinson directing Twiggs to a handwritten note under his keyboard. The note, now key evidence, contained just 17 chilling words. I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. What followed was a disturbing and intimate confession, as Twiggs, in shock, responded with desperate disbelief.
After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson, "I am still okay, my love, but am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet."
But Robinson's response shattered any illusion that this might be some kind of sick prank. With a casualness that would later shock prosecutors and the American public alike, he not only confirmed what he had done, but began to share operational details about his escape plan.
"Well, I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age."
The level of premeditation revealed in these messages was staggering. This wasn't a crime of passion or temporary insanity. It was a carefully planned assassination. Robinson had spent over a week scouting the location, purchased a $2,000 scope, and even prepared contingency plans for retrieving his weapon from a drop point. When Twiggs pressed him with the obvious question, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson's response was as chilling as it was definitive.
"Robinson, I'm sorry." Roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing."
This exchange didn't just reveal Robinson's guilt, it showed his awareness of the massive manhunt already underway. The FBI and local authorities had detained multiple people, but Robinson knew they had the wrong suspects. He was still free, armed, and dangerous. What makes these messages so disturbing is the casual, almost affectionate tone Robinson maintained. Even as he described committing a political assassination, he continued to address Twiggs as "my love," expressing more concern for his partner's well-being than for the life he had just taken.
"Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." Roommate, "How long have you been planning this?" Robinson, "A bit over a week, I believe."
This revelation was a crucial win for prosecutors, building their case for premeditated murder. This wasn't a spontaneous act. Robinson had been methodically planning Charlie Kirk's assassination for over a week, preparing for what he saw as a necessary act of political violence. Perhaps most chilling of all was Robinson's explanation of his motive when Twiggs finally asked the question burning in both their minds. Why? His response revealed the ideological hatred that had driven him to commit murder.
Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out.
These words became central to the prosecution's case, providing clear evidence of political motivation and premeditated intent. Robinson had become radicalized by what he perceived as Kirk's hatred, convincing himself that violence was the only solution. The text messages also revealed the operational details of his escape and growing paranoia as police closed in. He described abandoning his rifle in a wooded area and his anxiety about police near his planned retrieval point.
I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it.
But perhaps the most telling aspect of these messages was how they revealed Robinson's character, or lack thereof. Even as he confessed to murder, he seemed more concerned about disappointing his father than about the life he had taken.
I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. IDEK if it's had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me.
Casual way Robinson discussed the mechanical details of his crime, his concerns about serial numbers, his bizarre jokes about anti-fascist messages on his bullets, painted a picture of a young man completely detached from the moral gravity of his actions.
Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notice bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke.
These text messages, preserved forever and read aloud in court with a smoking gun that sealed Robinson's fate. They also revealed the crucial role Lance Twiggs would play as the star witness in what promises to be one of the most closely watched trials in American history. The intimate partner who received the confession is now the key to his conviction, the roommate's shadow. While the text messages provided prosecutors with a confession, they also raised disturbing questions about the killer's roommate, Lance Twiggs. Did he play a role in Robinson's radicalization? The answers began to emerge, painting a picture of a troubled young person whose own dark past and radical beliefs may have contributed to the toxic environment that produced the assassin. According to anonymous family sources, Twiggs, a 22-year-old biological male in the process of transitioning, brought a history of personal struggles and radical political views to his year-long relationship with Robinson. Neighborhood witnesses who saw the couple in the weeks before the assassination offered the first glimpse into Twiggs's troubled background.
Yeah, he was walking with him.
Were they holding hands?
Yeah, they were. So, yeah, they drove off in his car, the Dodge Challenger.
But it was the testimony of a local resident who saw them together 2 weeks before the shooting that provided some of the most revealing insights into their relationship.
It was about the time I saw them, so...
How long ago was that?
I would say about 2 weeks ago.
And so they looked like they were a couple?
Yeah.
What struck witnesses most was Robinson's dramatically different appearance during this period.
And he was dressed all in black?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And you thought he was weird?
Yeah, I definitely, yeah.
What was weird about him?
Just the way he walked and just the way I've seen him.
This transformation in Robinson, witnesses noted, coincided with his deepening relationship with Twiggs and the shift to progressive views. Family sources claim Twiggs was expelled from home at 18 due to substance abuse and gender identity issues, harboring a stated hatred for conservatives and Christians, views that align with Robinson's motive. After leaving home, Twiggs eventually moved into a St. George townhome, and a year before the assassination, Robinson moved in. For nearly a year, Robinson lived with someone whose worldview was diametrically opposed to his family's. The influence of this relationship became even more apparent when witnesses described conversations they had overheard.
I remember them talking about a doctor's appointment. It was about 2 weeks ago, I would say.
And they were kissing?
Yeah.
The verdict that shook America. As Tyler Robinson's case moved toward one of the most closely watched trials in American history, the revelations from Lance Twiggs and the text messages had already altered political discourse. The intimate confession, combined with insights into his relationship with Twiggs, transformed this case into a national referendum on political violence and radicalization. Robinson faced 7 felonies, including aggravated murder. Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray sought the death penalty, citing the crime's broader implications. The prosecution's strategy would rely heavily on the text messages, which legal experts called the most damning confession in the history of American political assassination cases. During his virtual arraignment on September 16, 2025, Robinson sat stoically as prosecutors read portions of his chilling text message confession, marking the first time the public heard the intimate admissions to Twiggs. The courtroom was electric with tension as
these photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler
were presented as evidence. The prosecution's reading of the messages in open court had a devastating impact, particularly Robinson's casual admission of guilt and his detailed descriptions of operational planning,
stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel.
What shocked observers most wasn't just the content of the confession, but the tone. Robinson's casual discussion of logistics, his concerns about disappointing his father, and his bizarre jokes about anti-fascist messages on his bullets painted a picture of a young man completely detached from the moral gravity of his actions.
The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits.
The trial, however, was about more than a conviction. FBI Director Kash Patel called the assassination ideological terrorism, elevating the case to an attack on American democracy. President Trump blamed radical left rhetoric, posthumously awarded Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and ordered flags to be flown at half-staff. The human cost was powerfully captured by Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk. Her statement, a mix of grief and defiance, showed how the assassination had transformed a personal tragedy into a rallying cry for an entire political movement.
I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice.
But it was Erica Kirk's promise to continue her husband's work that demonstrated how Robinson's crime had ultimately failed in its apparent objective of silencing Kirk's voice.
The movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die.
Her vow that the assassination would only strengthen the conservative movement represented a complete rejection of the logic that had apparently driven Robinson to commit murder.
If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. In this world, you have no idea.
As the trial neared, the case had already reshaped American political discourse, forcing a national conversation on political polarization and extremist violence. The community's shock was profound, with neighbors and a former teacher struggling to reconcile their memories of Robinson as a smart, quiet young man with the reality of what he had become.
Are you shocked by this?
It was a shock. Oh yes, I am shocked. Very shocked.
The trial was more than a legal proceeding. It was a national examination of how American democracy could protect itself from ideological violence. The intimate revelations about his relationship with Twiggs, the chilling text confession, and the overwhelming evidence created a compelling narrative about the dangers of unchecked political radicalization. As Robinson awaited trial, the case had already achieved what his crime had not. It strengthened the conservative movement he sought to damage. Kirk's martyrdom elevated his message and mobilized his supporters in a way his life alone might never have. The ultimate irony of Robinson's crime was perhaps best captured in Erica Kirk's final words to her husband's supporters.
If you want to get involved, the best way you can do that is going to tpusa.com. That's what he would say every day from this chair. Every single day. I watched his show every day.
By the trial's end, Robinson's assassination of Charlie Kirk had achieved the opposite of its goal, turning Kirk into a powerful symbol of resistance to political violence. The shocking revelations from his roommate, Lance Twiggs, provided key evidence for a conviction and illuminated the complex factors driving young Americans to political violence. The legacy of Robinson's crime would serve as a cautionary tale about the intersection of personal grievances, ideological extremism, and the fragile nature of democratic discourse. His roommate's revelations not only broke the case, but provided a window into the darkest impulses of 21st century American political life.